Well, here we are again, Four-Gate Whiskey Company, Kelvin Collaboration. Not one, not two, not three, but Kelvin Collaboration numero 4. Coming back at you. How does this one stack up against the prior releases? Only one way to find out. Let's do this. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. So as most of you know, I'm a huge Four-Gate fan, and the Kelvin Collaboration is consistently one of my favorite releases. So this happens to be their newly released Kelvin Collaboration IV. And what exactly is a Kelvin Collaboration IV? Kelvin Collaboration IV is a straight bourbon and rye finished in Australian tawny port and Barbadian dark rum casks. This guy is coming in at 111.2 proof or 55.85% ABV. And the mash bill on this, so pay attention here. This is a 6 and 7 year Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, a 9-year MGP bourbon, and an 8-year MGP rye. It is non-age stated, and the MSRP comes in at right around a pretty standard $200 price point for Four-Gate. So let's go ahead and kind of dive into this. Does this kind of fall into the line of what some of the prior batches have been like? So as you can see, color-wise here, really nice, deep, rich, kind of mahogany type of color. Very, very oily. Not a super high proof for some of the other Four-Gate stuff, again, at just a little over 111 proof. But again, non-chill filtered, they never touch anything. This just in the finishing barrels and then through some filtering screens and into the bottle. So, all right, let's go ahead and dive into the nose. Right out of the gate, the one thing that I got, and again, I've sat down with this considerably prior to doing today's review. I let the bottle open because I think it's one thing that Four-Gate's whiskeys need a little bit of time. I think the longer they stay open, the more kind of rich or intense they kind of become. And as you'll see as we go through the review, this kind of falls, in line with that. So, but right out of the gate, the first thing I get with this is this rich red, like raspberry, maybe even a strawberry note. Really nice hint or hit of a brown sugar. And this specifically is actually more of like a cane sugar, just something that's very rich and bold about a cane sugar, like a molasses, something along those lines. Definitely some pastry crust. There's like a fresh baked pie crust nose on this. Again, like I said before, with the cane sugar, there's definitely that molasses note. So I'll say right away, what's showing up first on this seems to be much more of the dark rum casks so far. And again, this is the Barbadian dark rum casks. So if you're familiar with Barbadian rum and maybe where some of these come from, you'll know probably what kind of cask this was finished in. And knowing that rum, it's an incredible rum, so the influence of this is definitely starting to kind of come out. One thing specifically I'll say is definitely a chocolate covered raisin on this. There's that dark fruit, but I'm picking up a really nice hint of a raisin and a chocolate, kind of that combo. Fantastic baking spices on this. And this is a blend of Kentucky bourbons, a MGP bourbon, and an MGP rye. So we essentially have a boo rye, in this blend. Nice toffee notes as well. It's very big and bold. Even picking up a little bit of like an orange zest or an orange citrus. And I'll say this, the longer this bottle opens and it's longer that this stays in the glass, more of the mint starts to shine. Again, you're talking about a 9-year MGP rye. So a fantastic age on a rye. You get a lot of those candied mint type of notes when you get into those higher aged MGP ryes. Nice sweet oak on this. There's even a slight dusty aspect. There's that sweet oak and a little bit of that kind of like old dusty funkiness that's there on the on this whiskey. All right, let's go ahead and dive into the palate and see how this bad boy shakes out. Cheers. So like I was getting on the nose, right away I'm getting hit with this big amount of kind of a darker fruit, and it's specifically like a raspberry, maybe even like a chocolate covered raisin, a little bit of like a strawberry note, but there's definitely this fresh pie crust influence on this as well. Nice black pepper on it, chocolate covered raisin, and I'll even go as far as saying there's a cherry influence, and it may even be upwards of like a chocolate covered cherry, something along those lines. That sweet, rich oak really begins to kind of shine. This is where I'll start to say the tawny port and the rum influence are now starting to kind of mingle a little bit. Early on, like on the nose and even early on in the palate, I think it was much more influence of the Barbadian rum, but I think that Australian tawny port is now starting to kind of round it all out. A little bit more sweetness is starting to come through. The heavier dark fruits, rich molasses, kind of cane sugar early on the palate for this one. But now that tawny port with that sweetness, maybe in some of the fruity aspect of that is starting to kind of come out a little bit in this. I'll even say the rye part of it is starting to kind of show up a little bit more now in this, with a little bit more of that mint that's there. And again, it's like kind of a candied mint. And typically that's something that you'll get with an aged rye whiskey. Say the longer I sip on it, more of the mint, maybe even a little bit more of like an orange zest starts to come out in this. Maybe even a touch of like a lemon zest as well. It's kind of interesting, but it is 100% big and bold. I may actually say that the Kelvin Collaboration IV, I thought for the longest time like the Kelvin Collaboration I was my favorite, but I think what this has to kind of offer, and again, the longer I've had this bottle open and even sitting here doing this review today, the boldness of this, the balance and complexity of this is everything I think the finished whiskey lover would 100% enjoy. And I think that this is one of those whiskeys that falls into that special category. I think it's an incredible finished whiskey. The complexity, the layers, the balance, the mouthfeel, the richness, kind of how velvety it is. It's mouth coating. It does let you know that it is in that, 110 to 115 range. So there is something that's there to it, but the overall richness, balance, complexity, each one of those finishing casks have implemented on this whiskey, I think is absolutely incredible. And if you're able to find this, whether it's on the shelf or through online retail, do yourself a favor and pick this one up. I think you will 100% agree and understand once you dive into this bottle really how fantastic of a whiskey this really is. Finish on this is nice and long. It's everything I've described before on both the nose and the palate, and it just lets you know everything that this bottle was intended to be is showing up 100%. So I can't say enough about this. And again, for me, this honestly may be my favorite of the Kelvin collaborations that they've released. It's that good of a whiskey. So I hope you're able to find this, whether again, it's online or in a store. This is definitely a whiskey that I would put on your must hunt list, whatever it may be. I think you'll really, really appreciate the fact that you were able to find this one. So there you have it. This is the Kelvin Collaboration IV from Four Gate Whiskey Company. Leave a comment below. I would absolutely love to know your thoughts on not only this, but some of your experiences with the other Kelvin collaboration that's worth. Hopefully you guys get a little something out of this. Appreciate you tuning into another one of my reviews. Again, go find the Kelvin Collaboration IV from Four Gate Whiskey Company. I think it's definitely worth the $200 price point. Again, there you have it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to another one of my reviews. Greatly appreciate it. If you'd like to follow me, you can on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of those places at My Bourbon Journey. If you'd like to help support the channel and become part of the Mash and Journey Whiskey Club, make sure you check out the link in the description below. The Patreon link will be there for you to check out for all of that. So there you have it, Kelvin Collaboration IV from Four Gate Whiskey Company. And remember, it's about the journey and not the destination. Cheers.